Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another review. Today we have the Rode Wireless Go, which is an awesome, completely wireless microphone system where you can actually use the internal mic built in, or you can plug your own lav mic in, which I think is absolutely awesome. In terms of this review, it's going to be a really quick review, just going to sum up some pros and cons. There's plenty of technical information out there on the internet already and some of the other reviews. So yeah, just quick pros and cons, what I think of it, and then we'll also do some distance tests, which other people have done, but I'd like to do one as well. Now, what I normally like to do in my reviews sometimes is write a list of pros and cons on my computer right here. And the reason I do that is just so I don't forget, because when I'm rambling on, I always forget things. So I write a little list of some pros and cons, just helps me to remember and to keep track of where I'm at with the review. So let's go through the pros first. Let's go up here. So firstly, the packaging is awesome. That's pretty common with Rode. Their packaging, their products are always really nice. Rode is actually an Australian company, and I'm pretty certain that these are made in Australia, which is awesome. Makes me proud to be an Australian, because Rode products, you just see them all over the world. And yeah, awesome company from what I know. The second thing is the size and the build quality. They're absolutely tiny and the build quality is amazing. Like I said before, I wouldn't expect any less from Rode. Their stuff seems to be always top-notch quality in my opinion. And just on that note, this review isn't sponsored or anything like that. I bought this with my own money, so just so you know, because I'll keep rambling on about how good Rode is, because yeah, I absolutely love their products. I do think they make really good stuff. So yeah, build quality, size is awesome. Another cool thing is the belt clip on the receiver, the part that's on my camera right now, is actually able to plug straight into the hot shoe of the camera, or the cold shoe of the camera. So it just sits on top there. It's a nice way to store it while you're using it, but it can just hang off the camera as well. So I thought that was a really cool feature. Another thing I like is the screen on the receiver. It's a really nice clear screen, easy to see in bright daylight, and it has some things on it like the connection status as to whether it's paired between the receiver and the transceiver, which actually does happen very quickly. I'm really impressed by that. It's got the volume level, well not the volume level, but the input level, so you can see if it's peaking or not. And it also shows you the decibel level that you've got set, and battery level. I don't know if I said that. It also says about battery level, but yeah, it's a really nice little screen. Another thing is it has 3 audio level settings, so -12 decibels, -6 and 0. One thing I've found, and I've pretty much read in every single review or watched in every single review, was that at 0 decibels, it's way too hot. Even if my camera's on, like, I can't put it on 0, the input volume, because that just means it's off, but on 1, it's just peaks straight away. So I've got it in the middle setting with the camera set to audio level of 1. I have also tried the low setting and then bumping the volume up on the camera, but the preamp in the Rode Wireless Go is better than the one in the camera, so I do find the middle setting and the camera on the lower setting is actually the best setup that I've found for this so far. Another awesome thing is 8 sets of these can actually be used together. You can't actually pair 8 mics to one receiver, but you can have 8 of these running in one room. So if you want a big production or like a panel of people, you could have 8 of these running at the same time and they won't interfere with each other, which is really cool. Another thing I read, they've got some technology where it's constantly jumping different channels. So it's finding the channel with the least interference and constantly jumping. But you wouldn't know. The voice doesn't cut out or anything like that when it does that, so that's also really cool. So yeah, that's about it for the pros. Let's talk about the cons, and I've also got some suggestions as well that I'd like to go through. But yeah, firstly, let's talk about some cons. So the first con, in my opinion, is the onboard microphone isn't the best quality, in my opinion. It's decent, but I think coming from Rode, I think it could be a little bit better. A lot of reviews I've read have said the same thing. Yeah, it just could be a little bit better, but I mean, you can plug any lavalier mic or any microphone you want into this via the 3.5mm jack. But yeah, I bought this solely for the microphone on board because I don't like plugging lav mics in all the time and stuff. So it's decent, but it's just not the best. So another kind of con is that even though it's got an omnidirectional microphone, which means it'll record no matter where your mouth is around it, I do think it still sounds way better if you talk directly into it. So it's not really a con, it's more of like a kind of like a suggestion thing. I have it right now there pointing up. Usually when you have a lav mic, I've got one here. Usually when you got a lav mic, you've kind of got it clipped there, or maybe in a button in a shirt. So yeah, if it does end up a little bit sideways, it doesn't sound as good as it does pointing directly towards your mouth. And probably the last con for me is that I wish the receiver, the part on my camera at the moment, had a kind of a light or something at the front to tell me that it was on. There's been a lot of times where I've sat down to record and then I've realized that the actual unit, the receiver isn't on. So, I mean, you can position that receiver any way you like, but the way it sits in the hot shoe, you can't see the screen if you're facing the camera. And if you've got a Sony a7 III or a lot of Sonys, it doesn't have a flip out screen, so I can't actually see any audio levels. So yeah, some kind of signal on the front just to tell me it's on would be awesome. Maybe even a light that flashes if it peaks as well, like a red light. I think that'd be really cool. Next, now we're going to talk about some suggestions I'd have for Rode for this product. They're probably not listening, but it's just something I'd like to get out there. Maybe they'll watch it and maybe there'll be a second version of this. So yeah, let's talk about some suggestions for this product. So my first suggestion is I reckon that the microphone should possibly be on the side of the transceiver or the transmitter rather than the top. Reason being is, as I said before, when you clip a lav mic on, this one's like this, so usually you clip it there, the mic's pointing up, or if you clip it in between some buttons on a shirt, it's pointing up. But with this, if you do clip it to someone's shirt, just the way the clip's orientated, it will point sideways. And if you do have it like up here on a shirt where I normally would, it will point sideways. So right now it's right in the middle here, which probably looks a bit weird, but it does seem to provide the best sound that way. So even if it was just on the corner of the side, so it's kind of on the top and the side at the same time, I think that would work really well because you'd be able to put it sideways and the microphone would actually be pointing up. Another little suggestion is I think that the receiver side of, the transceiver or transmitter side of things, the microphone right here, I think it should be a different shape. Solely just because when you do clip it to your shirt, I do find that when it's clipped, I've got it clipped inside my shirt now so you can't see the whole thing, you can just see the clip. But I find that it starts to kind of fall and the microphone ends up right up against my chest. It's just because of the weight of it and the way the clip is. It doesn't weigh a lot, but just as opposed to a shirt, obviously it weighs more than the shirt. So it does start to fall forward and the microphone presses against my skin. It's not too bad at the moment, but that's how I'd want it to sit. But eventually it just starts making its way back down like that. So if it was more like an elongated shape, I think it would stop that. It just needs something in the bottom to stop it from tilting forward, or something at the top to stop it from tilting forward. So yeah, and that's just a little suggestion that would probably stop it from falling forward, in my opinion. Another thing I forgot to mention as a pro, but also comes in as a little bit of a con, is the pouch they give you that comes with it. It's awesome that they actually even give you one, which is cool. It's a really nice neoprene pouch. The con with it is that it doesn't fit everything inside it. So the Wireless Go comes with 2 USB-C cables, so you get to charge each of them. When you've got them both in there with the receiver and the transmitter, and you've also got the audio cable that goes from the receiver to the camera or your recording device, and the wind muff thing, it's a really, really, really tight fit. You can get it in there, but it's so tight that the Velcro hardly reaches. So I'd like to see it a tiny bit, it'd only have to be the tiniest bit taller like that. I know they probably made it so you're not supposed to actually take your charging cables out with you, but when I buy a piece of equipment, I like to try and keep all the pieces of that equipment together, which means this pouch would have been perfect for that if everything did fit. It does fit, it's just very, very, very tight. And that leads me to my next suggestion. I think the charger, maybe they should have come up with something, and I know it's easy to say this, but it's probably a lot of money and a lot of money for Rode to produce something like this, but I wish they had some kind of splitter so that it has 2 USB-C cables coming off it, and then it came with a separate USB cable you could just plug into that splitter. So you could just charge both the units together and then plug that into your computer or wherever you're charging it, because that way in the pouch, all you'd have to carry is a small splitter and then one cable instead of two USB-C cables. The good thing about the cables that Rode do give you is they're quite long, which is a good thing, but it's probably the other reason why they don't fit very well in this case. So yeah, that'd be my other little suggestion. And in saying that, that's my last little suggestion. Let's go out now. We'll do like some distance tests, things like that, and then we'll come back and tell you my final thoughts. All right, so I know this area here is about 19 meters from where the camera is to the end. Excuse the dogs, they're gonna be running around right there. So it's not the biggest range, but what I'm gonna do is if this works nicely, I'm gonna walk back, turn around, do some things like that, maybe walk into some rooms. If that works well, then we'll go outside. The weather's not the best, but if I get a chance, I'll go outside and we'll do the test over a longer distance. So like I said, it's about 19 meters. So what I'll do is I'll just walk backwards and then I'll turn around every so often. So probably about 10 meters from the camera now, something like that. I'm gonna turn around. We're gonna walk for a bit. Let's hope that this sounds decent. And the house is a bit echoey, so that's not the mic. And I'll turn around and face the camera again. I'm not sure if it's still coming through, but we'll see. Turning around again, just gonna walk the whole way back here with the mic. And the dog thinks she's going outside. You're not going outside, chicken. All right, now I'm turning around, this is about the 19 meter mark, facing the camera. Let's face away again. There we go. And what I might do now is just walk down here, walk into one of the rooms down here. Actually, I'll walk just straight across here. Let's see how that is. So I'm in the other room right now, just looking around. Let's turn around. I'm facing away from the camera, but in that little section that I'm in. So we've gone through like about 2 walls and some tiles and things like that. So we'll come back. Here I am again. I'm gonna walk into this room right here. This room is gonna be quite echoey because it's kind of empty at the moment. This is basically, if your line of sight, it's going through about 3 walls. So we'll see what this sounds like. So I'm in that room now. I'm facing the camera right now. And now I'm turning around, facing away from the camera. So I'll just keep talking. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm about to turn around and facing the camera again now. And then sideways, coming out of the room. And yeah, then I'll walk back to the camera a little bit. So I don't know what that sounded like, but I'll put some things on the screen whenever the audio does cut out. And if this works out really well, I'll do a longer distance test. We'll go outside, we'll do some longer distance tests. But I thought this would be a really good area to do it because it's about 20 meters long and there's a bunch of walls and things like that. There's obviously probably interference throughout the house with Wi-Fi and all sorts of things like that. So I thought it'd be a good test. But yeah, if this works out good, then we'll go outside and yeah, test it a little bit more. All right, so this is the outside test. Please forgive me, I've got a cold. So I've got the wind muff on this time because we're outside. It's not that windy, but I thought I'd chuck it on just to see how it sounds. Probably about 10 meters, a bit less than 10 meters from the camera now. I'm gonna walk backwards and talk and then I'm gonna turn around. And yeah, I'll try and let you know when it cuts out. I'll put a red dot on the screen or something every time it does cut out and we'll see. So actually, I probably am about 10 meters, close to 10 meters from the camera right now, but I'm gonna keep walking backwards. It'd be about 12 meters now, if not more. I'm gonna turn around and just keep talking. Let's see if it cuts out. About 15 meters from the camera now. I think this, yeah, like I said, it's supposed to be about 70 meter range. Line of sight though, so if I turn, it may cut out. Just gonna keep walking, talking, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're at least 20 meters from the camera, if not more. Probably closer to 30 meters from the camera actually at this rate. Should still be working. As I turn around, it might not be though. We'll just give 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we should be a good 12, 40 meters from the camera now. We're actually pretty far. It should still be picking me up, but as I turn around, it may be cutting out. Let's just test this. Hello, hello, hello. Just walking up to this house under construction here. Keep going a bit. We're probably about 50 meters now from the camera. Don't even know if you can still see me, but I'll walk to the very end of the street. We'll see if that works. So I've got wheelbarrows in front of me now, maybe cutting the signal. Test. About, yeah, 60, 70 meters, something like that now. So this should be its range. I don't know if it's cutting out or not. I've got wheelbarrow in front of me, bins, wire fence, there's a lot of stuff in front of me. I'm gonna walk back towards the camera now. And if it works this far, I mean, that's more than enough. I dare say you'd never have to be that far from the camera. But yeah, as you turn around, you probably notice, I'm not sure if it did or not, but it may have cut out, but that's pretty normal because it's line of sight. So as I turn around, it's cutting that line of sight. But it does work if I turn around, but I'm closer to the camera or closer to the receiver. And the indoor test, I think the reason that works so well as well is because the signal can bounce off the walls. So even when I turn around, the signal's probably bouncing, you know, around the house. Whereas outside, if I turn around, it's got nothing to bounce off, so the signal's just completely lost. So that's the outdoor test. Like I said, got up to about 60 or 70 meters. So I'm not sure if it worked or not yet, but like I said, I'd have something on the screen to tell you when it does cut out. Hope you enjoyed. Let's get back inside and I'll wrap this review up. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those little audio tests. I was actually really impressed with that outdoor one. There's a lot of times where I turned around and it did cut out, but there were times where I walked a little bit further and it didn't cut out. So I was pretty impressed. in front of me there was like wheelbarrows and all this construction equipment, and it still worked. So that's probably more than enough distance. I'd probably never film anything that far away, so I thought that was really impressive. In summing up the review, 2 massive thumbs up for this product. It's like extremely innovative. I think it's awesome. Keeping in mind with those little suggestions I made earlier, I think this product could be a little bit better. But yeah, the more I've used this, so I've had this for probably a week and a half, 2 weeks now. The more I've used it, the more I've actually really, really liked it. So for me, it does take a little bit of tweaking in post to get the audio right. I haven't done a whole lot in this review just so you can hear what it sounds like. I've got a cold at the moment, so disregard that. But yeah, my voice is quite bassy, so I spend a bit of time taking the bass out, boosting the volume and things like that. But yeah, overall, I'm extremely happy with it. I'd definitely recommend it to anyone who wants like a wireless solution. It's cheap, it works really, really well. And yeah, you can use any of your own lav mics if you wanted to, and just use this like a belt pack. For the price, for everything you get, I think it's awesome. Like I said, just keeping in mind those suggestions. And the thing I love about Rode is I've actually noticed after watching a few reviews on Rode products that a lot of the time they are in the comments and they are responding to people, which I think is absolutely awesome for a company to do that. So maybe they will watch this, and if they do, yeah, just think about those little suggestions. I think it'd be cool if they did make a second version. But other than that, I think it's a really awesome product. I'm really, really happy with it. And yeah, I'd definitely recommend it. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks very much for watching.